Hi, Studio 60 Gail here. I'd like to do another painting for you. This is our little snowman looking up at the Christmas star. There is a picture of it that's going to be on the same post with this so that you will have something to look at if you decide to do this. And so right now that I welcomed you and I hope you have a really good time doing this, I know this is one of my favorite paintings. So I'm going to go right quickly and get you a little bit of a zoomed in look at this. All right. Hopefully that's going to get it in there. I'll keep checking it every once in a while. The first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to do the background, upper background. So we're going to need some red. I'd say about maybe a little shy of a tablespoon. Maybe just a tad more, maybe about a tablespoon, because we can always go back and use that for touch-ups. That's a good idea. And I'm going to take just a little bit of white. I'm going to shake my white up, make sure that it's ready to come out. I'm going to put just one drop of white into that red. And I'm going to take a back end of my brush, not my bristle part, but my brush, and I'm going to mix this. I want to get some white into that red so it's a little bit more opaque. I'm actually going to add one more drop. I don't want this to become pink. It will be a little bit more of a red pink. There, that's perfect. So it's still a red. You wouldn't call it a pink, but it's definitely got a little white in it so that we can kind of rectify some of that transparency that we see in red. I'm going to wipe that off. And I always wear more paint than probably the canvas. It's just me. All right, I am going to go ahead and use a 1/2 inch flat brush for this painting, for this part. So I'm going to just start, and I'm going to start by going around this star. I hope that you can see, I believe you can see on there that this star has been pre-drawn on. Going to go ahead and get this whole thing up. See what I did there? Don't like that. Don't do that. It'll cover, but try not to do that. I'm just going to cover this up. I do like to turn my canvas around. I typically, when I'm painting for myself, a prototype or something like that, I rarely use an easel. I use easel for teaching only. So I will be turning my canvas around for me to get the best angle. That little bloop I made there, that's because I did not turn it. And that's just me. Some people can paint till the cows come home on an easel. I just don't prefer it. So I will be tilting my canvas to my advantage. And you should, when you learn your own technique, you'll either do something like that. So what I want to do here is I want to have just kind of all over little hatch mark on my canvas here. I'm going to get those edges. So we'll go ahead and turn this back up now. Now I can kind of move a little faster. You can do your edges now, or you can go ahead and do those edges when you're done. Some people have, and I've seen it, and it depends on the painting whether I like it or not, is they have taken ribbon and glued it around the edge. And then they have used something up at the top as the hanger. And that's kind of cute. I think on this one I would like it. Now here's an interesting thing. Here's where these noses are drawn on here. Okay, I had the whole thing drawn on ahead of time, but because I see where this is starting and the taper of the carrot, I know exactly how that's going to pinpoint out up here. So I am not going to worry about it. I'm not going to try and go around these fine little noses. I will actually go over them. Now, the part about red is that I can still, you probably can't see them, but I can still see the outline of those. So what I'm going to do now is I do want to be a little careful on around my little snowman head. So I took the edge like a chisel and made a nice line around that. And I'll go back in here now and do that little cross hatch. Because I do want to break up that line. I don't want it to look like a line there. And I'll do that before that dries. So I'll come in there and kind of mess that up a little bit. I'm going to keep going. Get down to that. Now, remember I told you, for me, this would be very awkward for me to do it that way. So if I turn it like this, I can go down that line and get a nice line going around there. I'll go back in there and break that up. Okay, and there's our background. Now, if I'm lucky, some of this is still going to be wet up here. I can go back in and kind of get it a little bit wet. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put another, just a dot of white right there. I'm going to put some red into it. Some of that red. And I'm going to get this brush, get as much of that out of there, put that in water. And actually, to so my water isn't constantly having to be changed out, I can take a lot of this off before I drop that into the water so that the water just doesn't become another thin paint of red. Okay, so I took that out, and I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch brush into this while this is still somewhat wet. And I'm going to go ahead and do some very soft swirly. They're very soft. I mean, they're not supposed to be huge. They're just a very subtle background. When you put them on, you can pretend they're going behind things. Like this one looks like it's going off. I can do that over here. I can start it like this, come around here like that. Get my little swirls in there. This one is going to come up like this, go behind the star and around so it looks like that star is over it. Just want to get he's going to go behind him. All right, so I've got my little swirls in. I'm going to rinse off that. I'm going to check to see how this is showing up on here. Oh, awesome. It looks like maybe I need to move it a little bit. There. All right. So that's going to dry. If you are at home and you have a hair dryer, you can dry it, which is what I'm going to do, so you don't have to wait forever for me. I have it set up all the time. beauty of this video that I'm doing is that this will be on as a replay. So when you see this, you're going to be able to, at this point in time, pause that, go dry, come back, hit play again, because I am not doing this one live. All right. Now, remember I said, oops, there's my oops. I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit more white over here, its own little blob, because I'm going to be using white. So it's a good tablespoon. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go ahead and, it's a 1/4 inch, and I'm going to go ahead into my star here. And I can cover that up. It might show a little bit, but it won't be like that big red mark that I had there. And I'm covering, giving my star a coat of white. It is white, I understand the canvas is white, but I kind of like to give another coat so that we don't have so much of that texture of the canvas. It kind of seals up those little indentations just a little bit more. So when you go to do some shading or anything like that, it just makes it easier. So we are putting a coat of acrylic on top of the gesso. So I've done that. Okay, now we're going to go to our snowmen. Going back to a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch flat. And here's where I might give you a little tip, if I can find my pen. Since these are going to be black anyway, so we don't have to worry about anything showing through, I can go ahead and take my pencil, and I can really do this pretty dark. And I'm only going to do that, not the whole nose, just where it goes into the snow. And here. Wouldn't do this with a light color, but because these will be black, we aren't going to sacrifice anything. Okay, so those are quite bright now. And I'm going to go into my, oops, that has a little bit red in it yet. Let me do that one more time. Don't be too hasty. I'm going to go into my white. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a coat right over the eyes. That'll dry. Here's a little place that I went in. Okay, so obviously you can still see through here. Okay, now that's going to dry. While that's drying, we're going to tackle that star. This is the kind of way I like to paint, that use natural timing, so that you don't have to keep running to the hair dryer all the time. So if I were working on here, I'd be going back and forth, but they're going to dry. So while I was working on these, this was drying more because I didn't do the hair dryer the whole thing. Then this is dry now. I can add my yellow to that. This will be drying. So what I have here is like a medium yellow paint, kind of a bright, nice bright one like this. I will use my 1/4 inch brush, but before I start painting, I'm going to go ahead and take a little glob of white, because that yellow is very transparent. And I'm mixing a little white into it. I'm going to wipe that off. And I'll go ahead and start my first coat of gold. Now it's going to dry. We will be putting a second, possibly a third coat on that, depending on how well that covers. And this is dry now. I'm going to probably even still, let's see, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right. My next color that I went on here is kind of a, let's see, the color of this one is Royal Navy. It's Americana Deco Art Paint. I'm going to put a tiny little dot here. I'm going to use that 1/2 inch flat, and I'm going to take some white, and I'm going to go ahead and just right here again, add some white just on that edge. Yeah, actually I'm going to go down farther. And because you probably aren't using an easel, I'm going to go ahead and put it like this so that this isn't in my way, the ledge down here. So I've got a second coat about halfway through. I want to take some white here, and I'm going to take a little corner of blue and mix it with that white. So I got a kind of a baby blue. I'm going to take this. I'm not going to rinse this off. I just want to knock that excess off on a paper towel. So it's still there. It's just not a big glob. And I'm going to start putting some blue in over here. Now, I don't want, for now, I'm going to go over a little bit into that red. Kind of fluffy. See how I'm heading into that red like that? Going all the way down into this corner, and I'm just going to kind of just blend it out toward the center of my little snowman head. I'm going to rinse the brush. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'll take some white, because what I'm needing is I need to put this blue into wet. I don't want a hard line of it, I want a soft line of it. So I've got that. I'm going to go into that blue, and I'm going to start letting it go over that edge. That blue go over into, sorry, I'm talking too soft, into that red. Flip to the side so that I can get back, oops, caught the actual blue there. Let me get some of that off. Sometimes I do that. So I just go ahead and blue. Now where I want the most blue, so right now, where I want the most blue is right down where the two snowmen meet. So I added a little extra blue. See how that's a little darker? I just want to kind of pat that in a little bit of a, kind of almost like a little pyramid. And it would look like a pyramid from there. So that's my darkest little area down in there. Okay, so now, that's going to have to dry. So I will go over here and dry. Okay, now let's take care of those noses, okay? So remember that we covered up the end of their nose, but we can see through the white and we can find it. It's going to go, this is going to converge right up to the tip. I literally, on this one, I can still see it a little bit. This one is not, it's pretty obscured. But like I said, we know that these lines are going to converge to a point at some point out here. So you could probably do something like this. If you follow those lines converging, it's gonna, if you take your hand and kind of go up to here, it's gonna end about right there. And this one I can actually see, that's gonna end there. So what I can do now is I can paint backwards, cone shape, to those lines. So I want that nose like that. I want him to be based in white. I do the same thing. I have to turn it. And let me crop it up here. I'm going to turn it. Follow that line back. Oh, he's got a cool little nose. I don't mind them being crooked at all. I mean, I think they're kind of fun to have a little, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a little bump in his. Kind of want a little bump. Yep, kind of like the carrot's eye peel for my stew. Let's see. Yep. All right, so now I've got my two noses back in, and they're drying. So let's go back to our yellow and our 1/4 inch brush. And like any good, decent painter, I've always got a Coca-Cola to drink. All right. Going back into my star. I'm going to go ahead and paint another coat of that yellow that we mixed earlier. I'm not standing in front of it, sorry, I am. Now, in order, I'm having a hard time there, so I do, like I told you, I will move it. I have no problem moving these canvases around to make it easy for me to make a better line. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but that still didn't cover real well. I'm going to take a little bit of white in there. Just kind of, and then blend that back in there because I really don't want that little piece of red showing. All right. That nose we just worked on, it should be dry. I'm going to go back in now with more white and get that a brighter white. We need a nice base for our orange. Orange is terrible for covering. It wouldn't even show up on the red at all if we didn't do this. And I'm keeping the bump in my nose here because I like that. Okay, now that's even a brighter white. That's probably going to be good enough. All right. And now I'm going